Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 41 based on novel. So let's start. Ferocious and majestic yuan power rippled from Pang Hao's body in pulses, pushing away the lightning liquid around him. Pang Hao's strength had already reached the perfect profound life stage and was already considered rather famous in the chaotic demon sea. Compared with this, leader of the 4 demon generals of the 9 Serene Gate, Zhu Gan and the rest from the Heaven Wind Sea region were completely overshadowed. At this moment, Pang Hao was standing in a proud manner with a long black halberd in his hand. The shape of the halberd was exceptionally sinister. Cold light flowed over the blade while an extremely sharp fluctuation was vaguely emitted. Anyone could tell that this halberd was a lethal weapon and was very clearly a relatively powerful Pu Yuan treasure. To have become the leader of the 4 demon generals of the 9 Serene Gate, it was obvious that Pang Hao's ability was not just hot air. What a powerful aura! He is indeed worthy of being the most outstanding disciple of the 9 Serene Gate. That halberd in his hand is that sky-splitting ghost halberd, right? It is rumored to be a middle-grade Pu Yuan treasure and its offensive strength cannot be underestimated. Lin Dong has really picked a tough opponent this time around. Pang Hao might be powerful, but that Lin Dong is no ordinary individual either. Not just anyone has the ability to snatch a silver tower key from the hands of a profound death stage expert. That's right. If the both of them were to fight, it will truly be a battle of the titans. We'll have to wait and see the result for the fight to know just who will emerge victorious. Lin Dong's face revealed a grin as he looked at the ferocious aura of Pang Hao. He softly said, "Since this is the case, you have agreed with the condition I have mentioned earlier." Pang Hao's eyes were ice cold as they glared at Lin Dong. His hand tightly gripped the halberd as he spoke in a malicious voice, "We'll do as you say. The bet will be 30 Thunderbolt cores." The eyes of those experts from the 9 Serene Gate behind Pang Hao twitched, but they did not say anything. From the looks of it, they seemed to have quite a lot of confidence in Pang Hao's strength. After all, given the latter's strength, it was difficult for him to find any opponents within the perfect profound life stage if he went all out. Although this Lin Dong was somewhat famous, it was obvious that Pang Hao had a higher chance of victory if they were to fight. In that case, I would like to invite everyone present to be the judges. The distribution of the 30 Thunderbolt cores will also be as I have said earlier. What do you say? Lin Dong looked at the many surrounding experts and said, "Hee, we will naturally do so. Since both of you have placed such a condition, you will naturally have to obey it. The 9 Serene Gate is extremely well known. I believe that they will also not do anything that will cause them to lose face. Everyone, am I right?" An expert laughed in a strange fashion. There was no lack of intelligent people amongst the crowd. Naturally, they understood that Lin Dong had purposefully dragged them in. In this way, the 9 Serene Gate would not dare to go back on their words in front of the many experts who were eyeing them. "Ha ha, that's right. With so many of us as judges, we will not simply allow anyone to break the rules." Loud laughter was heard as people continued to voice their agreement. Although they understood that Lin Dong was currently borrowing their strength, no one was opposed to it. As for who would emerge victorious, they could not care less. Everything was fine as long as they could obtain the Thunderbolt cores. Pang Hao had an indifferent expression. His eyes stared at Lin Dong in a sinister manner. Given his intelligence, he naturally understood just what Lin Dong was planning. The current, you should just worry about whether you can take out 30 Thunderbolt cores when the time comes. Lin Dong merely smiled after hearing this. Icy murderous intent seeped out from his smile. Since the very beginning, this Pang Hao had continuously caused trouble for him. Hence, he had already found the latter to be an eyesore. There was nothing better than to have the opportunity to engage in a fair and square fight. "Brother Lin Dong, why don't I deal with him instead?" Mu Lingshan hugged the life-death coffin cover. Her large eyes were a little hostile as she stared at Pang Hao and said, "There is no need to. All you need to do is to pay attention to those from the 9 Serene Gate." Lin Dong shook his head. Mu Lingshan was of similar strength to Pang Hao. The latter would not agree so readily if she was to fight. Crack. Lin Dong curled his fingers as some clear bone-cracking sounds appeared. That faint sound seemed to contain a majestic strength. Green light slowly spread from within Lin Dong's body as he slowly stepped forward as a deep dragon roar quietly reverberated within his body. His eyes were clearly excited as he looked at the cold and indifferent Pang Hao in front of him and laughed, "Please give me pointers. I'm afraid that you will no longer be able to smile soon." Pang Hao gazed at the smile on Lin Dong's face as rage involuntarily surged from within his heart. In his eyes, Lin Dong's smile was really somewhat loathsome. Bang! A fierce glow rushed through Pang Hao's eyes. Immediately, the long halberd in his hand shook as a sharp howl was emitted. It was a sound that was filled with a dense bloody scent. Pang Hao's body abruptly moved the moment the sharp howl sounded. It was possible to see the lightning liquid in front of him being torn apart as a human figure rushed towards Lin Dong in a ghost-like fashion. The long halberd was darted like a viper as dozens of sharp after-images came pouring down like a storm. In an instant, it covered all of the fatal spots around Lin Dong's body. This attack by Pang Hao was relatively ruthless. Moreover, he did not have any plans on holding back. Even the lightning liquid exploded apart wherever the halberd images passed. The halberd images that filled the sky rapidly magnified in Lin Dong's eyes. Quickly after, he lifted his hand and a scarlet red light suddenly shot out. After which, it directly turned into a scarlet red large cauldron that directly collided against those sharp halberd images. Clear metallic sounds echoed as sparks flew. The sharp halberd images were directly destroyed as the huge crimson cauldron rotated. The moment those sharp halberd images disappeared, Lin Dong's body also rushed forward. His toes pushed off the huge cauldron and his body abruptly approached Pang Hao. 10 green dragon-like tattoos flowed over the surface of his body while faint dragon roars continued to be emitted. Pang Hao gazed at Lin Dong, who had suddenly approached him as his pupils shrunk. Soon after, he sensed a dangerous fluctuation from within Lin Dong's body. Bang! A frightening attack erupted like an uncontrolled torrent of water as a dragon roared. At this moment, Lin Dong's fists, feet, thigh, head, elbow, every part of his body seemed to have turned into the sharpest weapon as they continuously swung at Pang Hao. The ferocious melee battle caused many of the battle-hardened experts to reveal a grave expression in their eyes. They could naturally tell just how ruthless this attack of Lin Dong was. Initially Pang Hao was also slightly caught off guard by this close-quarters combat of Lin Dong. However, he was ultimately no ordinary person. Soon, he steadied himself. The long halberd in his hand switched from being on the offensive to being on the defensive. In an instant, his body became extremely well protected, completely blocking those formidable attacks of Lin Dong in the process. However, each time Lin Dong's attack landed on the halberd, he was able to sense a frightening force being transmitted into his hands. Immediately, a grave expression rose from deep within his eyes. Only after having truly exchanged blows was it possible for him to clearly sense that there was a terrifying explosive force within Lin Dong's seemingly skinny body. Bang bang bang. The two figures crisscrossed in a ghost-like fashion. Wave after wave of extremely shocking force swept outwards and the lightning liquid that originally within 1,000 feet of both parties was forcefully expelled. The many surrounding gazes were currently filled with surprise and seriousness as they watched the two people entangled in ruthless battle. They was naturally able to tell that both of their attacks were extremely ruthless. Each strike targeted a fatal spot. It was likely that no one would have an easy time if they were struck. That Lin Dong is really strong. He is actually able to fight until such an extent even when faced with the sky-splitting ghost halberd-wielding Pang Hao. He is indeed quite strong. This physical body of his has been trained to a relatively powerful level. If he continues to press on, it is likely that even Pang Hao will no longer be able to endure. So what if he cannot endure? He may possess some killing strikes, but do you think that Lin Dong doesn't? Conversations continued to spread as many pairs of eyes were locked onto the two who were exchanging blows with each other. The fiery hot intense battle of the two had somewhat exceeded the expectations of those around. Boom! Covered by green dragon-like tattoos, Lin Dong's leg swung like the blade of a sword. After which, it smashed heavily onto the long black halberd. The wild and violent force even managed to bend the long halberd slightly. Bang! Majestic yuan power erupted from within Pang Hao's body as black light spouted from the long black halberd. A ferocious force pushed away the leg that was smashing towards him. You are quite capable. Pang Hao held the long black halberd tightly as he slowly lifted his head. He looked at Lin Dong in front and suddenly parted his mouth into a smile. However, that smile was filled with ferociousness. His long halberd was lifted and pointed at Lin Dong as he softly said, "I will finish you off with the next attack." Bang! Monstrous yuan power surged from within his body like floodwaters after Pang Hao uttered those words. The sky-splitting ghost halberd in his hand gradually swelled at this moment. A single strike her. Lin Dong watched Pang Hao as the latter's aura suddenly surged as a smile rose on his young face. Immediately, the smile became ice-cold. The glint within those eyes were as sharp as a blade. In that case, I'll do this. Lin Dong strided forward as green light abruptly bubbled out. Immediately 20 green dragon light tattoos slowly flowed and appeared from under his skin. A low and deep dragon roar suddenly resounded at the bottom of the lightning lake. As the sound waves spread outwards, the surrounding lightning liquid exploded outwards instantly, causing terrifying bolts of lightning to flash as they frantically cackled around. This dragon roar was different from before. Mixed within that dragon roar was a thick and intimidating pressure. This pressure caused the expressions of several experts to faintly change, before shocked gazes were cast at a young man. At this moment, there was a total of 20 green dragon light tattoos dancing and revolving around Lin Dong's body. Under their illumination, his originally jet black eyes began to glimmer. The current Lin Dong was just like a genuine high-ranked Dragon Clan practitioner, and the pressure and energy fluctuations radiating out of him caused the hearts of several people to palpitate. What terrifying body-tempering martial art is this? Such tyranny, he is actually able to give off the same pressure as those elites from the Dragon Clan. That fellow is truly formidable. As surrounding experts felt the astonishing fluctuations radiating from Lin Dong's body, all their expressions faintly changed. It was likely because it was a rare sight to witness an individual that was able to temper his body till it was able to emit a pressure comparable to that of an elite Dragon Clan practitioner. Such powerful energy. Seeing Lin Dong in the distance with 20 green dragon light tattoos swiveling around him, while an aura akin to that of a giant dragon radiated out of him, a sliver of graveness flashed across Liu Xiangshuan's beautiful eyes before she softly commented. His body-refining martial art is rather unique. Perhaps it's not the slightest bit weaker than our mysterious Sky Hall's supreme body-refining martial art. The heavenly saint physique body. Astonishment streaked across the eyes of the middle-aged man behind Liu Xiangshuan as he said. Such a powerful body-refining martial art can't be easily obtained by any ordinary individual. This brat might have a startling background. As she pondered over this fact, Liu Xiangshuan faintly wrinkled her black brows. They truly knew too little about Lin Dong. This person did not have the slightest bit of fame within the chaotic demon sea and had popped up all of a sudden. Not only did he cause a massive upheaval in the heavenly wind sea region, he even snatched the Silver Tower key from the hands of the demonic wind cave, who had paid an exorbitant price for it. Most people simply assumed that Lin Dong was a lone wolf and the formidable martial arts in his possession were likely acquired by chance. However, from the looks of it now, they may have been mistaken. Regardless, Pang Hao is about to unleash his killing moves. Liu Xiangshuan raised her head faintly and turned her head towards Pang Hao. At the moment, black light that overflowed throughout the sky had condensed around the latter body. The sky-splitting ghost halberd within his hands trembled continuously, causing ear-piercing screeches to ring out, as though it wanted to fly out of his hands. The fluctuations radiating out from Pang Hao's body was rather ominous. Obviously, the head of the 4 demon generals of 9 Serene Gate was about to use his signature move to end this confrontation. It's no wonder you dare to challenge me. Turns out, you've been keeping aces up your sleeve. Encased within the black light that flooded the skies, Pang Hao's figure appeared akin to a demon god. While his jet black eyes stared at Lin Dong, a fierce and chilling intent surfaced as he sinisterly laughed. Likewise. Suffused with green light, Lin Dong also stared back at Pang Hao while replying with a gentle smile. With a gentle grasp, his muscles faintly tightened up, causing a dragon-like power to rapidly erupt from all the meridians and bones within his body. As of now, Lindong had a vague feeling, as though he could destroy anything that stood in front of him with a single punch. 20 green dragon-like tattoos. There was only a total of 23 green dragon-like tattoos within Lindong's body. Of the 23, 10 of them were personally refined by him. For the remaining 13, they could only be used once and Lindong had never used them. However, right now, they were being activated. This power was indeed quite frightening. I know that you've managed to make a name for yourself in Heavenly Wind Sea region. However, I'll let you know that just because you can create chaos, it doesn't mean that you have the qualifications to dominate the chaotic demon sea. Ominous aura started to creep up sliver by sliver onto Pang Hao's handsome face. Clenching the shivering long black halberd tightly in his hand, the bloodthirsty fluctuations radiating from him grew increasingly rich and strong. One move. I will finish you off. The corner of Pang Hao's mouth opened, revealing a malevolent smirk. Suddenly, he unclenched his hands, causing a black light to howl forth instantaneously, blotting the skies. In the next instant, transforming into a streak of black light, his long black halberd shot forth. In a flash, a gigantic lightning bolt, approximately hundreds of meters long, rumbled out. An extremely fearsome fluctuation began to crazily pour forth. Bang bang bang. As the black lightning bolt shot forth, the lightning liquid within a mile radius started to flare intensely, causing giant lava-like waves to continuously churn. Heaven Splitter! Pang Hao's finger instantaneously pointed at Lindong as a thunder-like roar rumbled and rang out at the bottom of the lightning lake. Bang! As his roar rang out, the 100+ meter long black lightning bolt paused for a second, before shooting out explosively in the next instant. The split second it occurred, the lightning liquid at the bottom of the lightning lake was seemingly being pressed down. As the black lightning bolt hurled forwards, the space around it started to distort. Upon seeing such an astonishing attack, horror and shock overwhelmed numerous experts in the surroundings. Pang Hao's attack was definitely able to kill an expert at perfect profound life stage. I wonder if Lindong is able to handle that attack. This thought flashed within the minds of observer while the black lightning bolt had already arrived in front of Lindong. Without the slightest bit of hesitation, it carried along a devastating force as it violently rumbled towards Lindong. As the gigantic black lightning bolt grew rapidly larger in Lindong's field of view, the 20 green dragon-like tattoos twisting around his body had seemingly sensed the incoming danger before them, as all of them faced the sky and roared. Let's see who will have the final laugh. A similar chilling intent crept up from the corner of Lindong's mouth. The spark within his eyes were as sharp as the edge of a blade. In the next instant, he actually showed no intention of retreating. Clenching his fingers tightly, he took a deep breath before he formed a strange seal with his hands. Green Dragon Heavenly Seat Seal. As Lindong's fist rumbled out, the 20 green dragon-like tattoos around his body instantly wrapped around his arm. Amidst a chorus of dragon roars, a bright and resplendent green light gushed out. Everyone was forced to faintly narrow their eyes due to that resplendent green light. In the next instant, they saw Lindong's fist, wrapped with green light, violently smashing against the gigantic black lightning bolt without the slightest bit of gaudiness. Boom! A splitting explosion instantly resounded out before everyone promptly felt a terrifying shockwave swept forth. As these fluctuations swept out, everyone hastily activated their Yuan power defenses. However, for some of them, they were still blown away and landed in a rather miserable state. However, at the moment, they did not care about such matters. After stabilizing themselves, they immediately turned their attention towards the spot where the green light had clashed with the black rays of brilliance. All their eyes were filled with shock and astonishment. They were able to see a thin figure, enveloped by a green light, standing like a mountain under the crazy impact of that black lightning bolt. Furthermore, that figure was just like a mountain, regardless of how violent the winds were, he would not budge at all. Break! As their gazes converged at that location, a low and deep voice rang out from within the green light. The voice was not loud, but it carried an irresistible and authoritative tone. Roar? As the voice rang out, a dragon roar suffused with thick pressure furiously resounded out. In the next instant, everyone noticed those green dragon-like tattoos rapidly condensing together. Forming into a helix, they violently smashed against the black lightning bolt. The terrifying impact immediately caused the black lightning bolt to tremble. Faintly, a miserable whimper could be discerned as it rang out from within. In an extremely overbearing fashion, the helical green light ripped apart the black lightning bolt. As the black lightning bolt was shattered, a black light shot out, before turning into a long black halberd. Without any energy left, it flew back out, while the original brilliance that undulated on its body became abnormally dim at this moment. As the long black halberd flew out, a flushed shade erupted on Pang Hao's face, before blood spurted out from mouth. At the moment, thick horror as well as an incredulous expression gushed from within his eyes. He could not believe that his overbearing attack was actually crushed by Lin Dong. Victory and defeat was decided by a single move. As the green light scattered, Lin Dong stared coldly at Pang Hao, whose aura was rapidly declining. Killing intent flashed within his eyes, before he shot out explosively. In a flash, he appeared in front of the latter, before sending a palm violently down on latter's crown, under the shocked expression of the crowd. This fellow actually dared to kill Pang Hao. A few people sucked in a mouthful of cold air. He actually dared to kill Pang Hao in front of the 9 Serene Gates elites. How vicious. Gutsy indeed. Lin Dong's attack was extremely fast and furious. At the moment, due to the previous head-on confrontation, the yuan power within Pang Hao's body had been jolted and shook, causing his responses to become rather clumsy and awkward. Therefore, he could only open his eyes wide and stare blankly as Lin Dong charged towards him with a face brimming with murderous intent. At the moment, dread erupted within his eyes as he finally understood how vicious the young man in front of him was. "Brat, how dare you!" However, just as the swift and fierce palm wind from Lin Dong filled with rich killing intent was about to land on Pang Hao's crown, a furious roar akin to a thunderclap rang out abruptly from within the 9 Serene Gate members. Promptly, like a spectre, a figure appeared beside Pang Hao in a flash. Straightening his 2 fingers, he suddenly tapped out. Extremely boundless yuan power instantly condensed around those 2 fingers. Encased by yuan power, his fingers were wrapped with an extremely destructive black air. It was Death Chi. A profound death stage expert? This finger attack caused Lin Dong's pupils to instantly contract. In particular, the Death Chi fluctuations caused his expression to turn gloomy. There is indeed an expert at profound death stage hidden within the 9 Serene Gate members. His killing move blocked, the chilling intent within Lin Dong's eyes grew increasingly thick. However, he unexpectedly chose not to dodge or to evade the incoming attack. Instead, his swift and fearsome palm attack continued its path and collided head-on with that finger attack. Bang! In this head-on collision, Lin Dong's attack instantly collapsed as a wave of intense pain radiated out from his palm. However, a vicious shade flashed across his jet-black eyes. Without the slightest hesitation, his right foot swung out in a crafty arc. Like the edge of a blade, it violently landed on Pang Hao's chest. Berserk fluctuations radiated out as Lin Dong and Pang Hao flew out seemingly at the same time. While flying out, Lin Dong gave a muffled snort. What a miserable cry rang out of Pang Hao's mouth, followed by a spurt of blood from his mouth. A petite figure rapidly appeared behind Lin Dong before a little hand supported his back. Blue light erupted forth, causing his retreat to come to a halt. "Big brother Lin Dong, are you alright?" Upon noticing that Lin Dong's backpedaling had stopped, Mu Lingshan proceeded to ask promptly. "I'm alright," Lin Dong replied while shaking his head, before looked towards his front. Right now, there was a withered and thin old man with deep, sunken eyes and a head full of grey hair by Pang Hao's side. At the moment, this old man was staring right at Lin Dong with gloomy and chilling intent. "You shameless old tortoise! You actually dare to launch a sneak attack!" Mu Lingshan had also saw the grey-haired old man. Flames of fury erupted within her big eyes as she swore at him without the slightest bit of respect. After glancing at a gloomy-looking Mu Lingshan, the grey-haired old man turned to Lin Dong before smirking. "Brat, you have a vicious heart indeed. This is merely a duel. Is there a need to be so vicious?" Old man, you are not making sense. This is an individual fight between him and me, and the fight will have to go on until we reach a conclusion. As long as he refuses to admit defeat, this fight will go on. Moreover, this is the chaotic demon sea and we are not members of the same sect. Comparing notes. Don't tell me that you expect me to wait for his yuan power to recover before we fight again. Lin Dong mocked, his voice brimming with ridicule. Upon hearing Lin Dong's reply, some of the experts in the surroundings started to chuckle. They were all veterans who have lived in the chaotic demon sea and they were no kind-hearted individuals. All of them knew how to pulverize an already defeated enemy. If they were put in Lin Dong's shoes, all of them would have attacked him as well. However, they might not be as firm and decisive as Lin Dong was. Therefore, when the old man started criticizing his vicious methods, it made a few people sneer silently in their hearts. In the chaotic demon sea, if one wasn't vicious, wouldn't one have already been devoured by others? What a sharp tongue! Gloomy flames of fury flashed within the eyes of the grey-haired old man as he roared with a sneer. Too lazy to bother about him, Lin Dong's eyes fluttered towards a pale-looking Pang Hao. His aura had visibly declined and it was obvious that the latter had sustained severe injuries. With a grin, Lin Dong spoke out, "So, what the outcome for our fight, brother Pang Hao? If there isn't one, let's go on. After all, there are many friends eagerly waiting for the results, you know." Hearing Lin Dong's words, Pang Hao's face involuntarily twitched, while his expression turned somewhat ashen. From the looks of it, his heart must be brimming with rage. That's right, it only takes a word to determine the results. If you're able to fight, just go on. That's right, that's right. We are all waiting. At this moment, quite a few agreeing and hooting laughter rang out from the surroundings. Although these experts might not dare to make such comments under normal circumstances, the thunderbolt cause at stake also involved them. Therefore, they would naturally care more about this fight. Hearing the hoots of laughter coming from the surroundings, Pang Hao's ashen expression grew even richer. Never could he have imagined that his plot against Lin Dong would now result in his downfall. Furthermore, he was clearly overwhelmed in the previous exchange. As of now, he had sustained pretty severe injuries. If he was to continue the fight with that vicious Lin Dong, given the latter's temperament, he would definitely unleash a killing move should he spot an opportunity. At that time, perhaps even the elder by his side might be unable to save him. Pang Hao's rippled, while his expression fluctuated indefinitely. After quite a while later, with extreme unwillingness, he clenched his teeth while replying, "This match is your win." Hearing his reply, the expressions of the 9 Serene Gate experts immediately changed. Just as they were about to speak up, they were immediately stopped by Pang Hao. Staring sinisterly at Lin Dong, the viciousness and savagery present in the latter's eyes appeared as though he wanted to devour the former up. "Ha ha! Brother Pang Hao is surely magnanimous. Since you've admitted defeat, please surrender the 30 Thunderbolt cores. Our friends over here are still waiting to get them." Turning a blind eye towards Pang Hao's ashen expression, Lin Dong grinned as he spoke to the former. Pang Hao's expression instantly went back to being gloomy. 30 Thunderbolt cores. This hefty price caused a considerable amount of pain even for someone of his stature. However, the numerous experts before him were staring greedily at him. If he were to back out, there was no guarantee that these vicious individuals would not plot against him. After all, although their 9 Serene Gate was powerful, it was unable to reign over the whole the chaotic demon sea. "Lin Dong, when you eat something from our 9 Serene Gate, be careful not to get choked to death." Taking a deep breath, a shiver shook through Pang Hao's palm. 30 Thunderbolt cores came flying out from his Qianquan bag before shooting towards Lin Dong. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong gave a faint smile. With a wave of his sleeve, half of the 30 Thunderbolt cores were received and kept by him into his Qianquan bag. As for the remaining 15, they flew straight towards those surroundings experts. "Everyone, just like what we agreed on. Ha ha, everyone can share in the spoils." Bang! Upon seeing the 15 Thunderbolt cores fly out, the eyes of those experts instantly turned red. In the next instant, intrepid and strong yuan powers erupted out as figures shot forward akin to lightning bolts. 15 Thunderbolt cores seemed like quite a lot. However, to those experts, that was akin to pouring a cup of water on a burning cart. Therefore, for the sake of snatching and obtain the 15 Thunderbolt cores, quite a few massacres and chaotic fights erupted naturally. Towards their massacres, Lin Dong was too lazy to care about it. He was only in charge of giving out 15 Thunderbolt cores, and the matter of who was going to receive them was not on his list of concerns. Looking at the 30 Thunderbolt cores that was very quickly being divided up, Pang Hao's eyelids twitched, before he cast his gloomy gaze towards Lin Dong. Grinning sinisterly, he spoke out, "Everyone, what's going to happen next will be a private matter between our 9 Serene Gate and Lin Dong. If you don't wish to become enemies with our 9 Serene Gate, please do not get involved." As Pang Hao's words rang out, malicious intent instantly surfaced within the eyes of the 9 Serene Gate experts. Previously, Pang Hao had suffered a huge loss. Now, it was time for payback. Upon hearing that, the gazes of those experts fluctuated for a while, before retreating away. Based on their personality, they'll naturally not take the risk of offending the 9 Serene Gate just to help Lin Dong. Even though they had gained a small benefit from Lin Dong previously. Similarly, Lin Dong naturally did not count on any of them. Narrowing his eyes faintly, he squinted at the experts of the 9 Serene Gate, who were radiating with murderous intent. That was especially the case for the grey-haired old man. That man was at the profound death stage. Thinking about it, he was not the slightest bit weaker than the old freak Mo Xie from the demonic wind cave. To deal with such an expert, the only thing he could do was to activate the burning sky cauldron. However, after that, he would definitely be very weak. Furthermore, entering into a period of weakness now was clearly not an intelligent thing to do. As for the 9 Serene Gate, after suffering the earlier loss, they would clearly not propose a game like a solo fight once again. "This is indeed somewhat troublesome," Lin Dong muttered. "I've told you before. You cannot afford to eat the things from our 9 Serene Gate." A sinister and gloomy expression was present on Pang Hao's face. In the next instant, brandishing his palm, he shouted out, "Kill him for me." Upon hearing his words, 10 over 9 Serene Gate experts shot forwards explosively. Covered in thick killing intent, boundless Yuan power and fierce martial arts hid the skies and covered the earth as they rushed towards Lin Dong. Standing together, Lin Dong and Mu Lingshan looked towards the attacking 9 Serene Gate experts. On their bodies, boundless Yuan power had similarly erupted out. However, just as everyone assumed that both parties were going to be engaged in a life-or-death struggle, a black ray of light furiously rushed up from the lightning cliff gorge below. Some of the 9 Serene Gate experts were hit by the black ray of light. As a gigantic bang resounded out, dozens of people simultaneously spurted blood as they flew backwards. This sudden change of event caused everyone present to gawk and stare vacantly, before turning their gazes frantically towards the lightning cliff gorge below. As they did, black rays of light that blotted the sky suddenly erupted out from the depths. Within the central location of the black rays of light was a figure that stood a few meters tall. Slowly walking out, fluctuations that were extremely evil and sinister radiated forth, making it seem as though some demon god had just crawled out from hell. "Yimo?" Upon seeing the figure, horror and shock erupted from within Lin Dong's eyes. This video will end here.